episode 463 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I will be talking about tonight's episodes of Impact Wrestling on Access TV and Ring of Honor Wrestling on Honor Club. Right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hey Wrestling Fanatics, welcome to tonight's episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. I am your host Lance Brock. Thank you for tuning in tonight, everybody. Hope everyone had a great Thursday today. Tonight, going to be talking about Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor on Honor Club. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. And tonight on Impact Wrestling, which was taped in Chicago at Cicero Stadium, our commentators tonight, Tom Hannafin and Matthew Raywalt. We start things off with the Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion Trinity in the ring. She talks about how that was the same building where she made her Impact Wrestling debut. And then, just like when she made her Impact debut, once again, she was interrupted by Deonna Purrazzo, but the roles were reversed. This time, the last time, Deonna came out as the Impact Knockouts champion, but this time it is Trinity who is the Impact Knockouts champion, and then they are interrupted by the Impact Wrestling Knockouts tag team champions, the Coven, Taylor Wilde and Kylie King, and this leads to a tag team match, and the Coven gets the win here, defeating the Knockouts champion and her next challenger, Deonna Purrazzo. I'd say not a bad match at all. 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. And these two, Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo, will be facing off for the Impact Knockouts Championship at Emergence, which will be available on Impact Plus. Next up, Heath defeats Alan Angels. Jake Something defeats David Vega. Kenny King, along with Sheldon Jean, defeats Yuya Uemura and Joe Hendry in a 3-way match to retain the Impact Wrestling Digital Media Championship. The Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz, defeat the team of Speedball Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham in a first-round match of the Impact Tag Team Championship number 1 Contenders Tournament. And then after our main event match on Impact Wrestling this week, we see never-before-seen footage of Eric Young's last appearance in Impact Wrestling before his comeback when Cody Deaner was supposed to have killed him, and we seen him bloodied on the floor, which looked like he was dead. But then we see him smile, get up, go out, get on a motorcycle, put on a helmet, and just start riding. And while we see him riding on this motorcycle, we hear him talking about death and life and to live and to die. So not too bad of an explanation of how he supposedly came back from the dead when he returned at Slammiversary this year. So that was tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling on Access TV. Not too bad of an episode. This week I don't think. So overall, I'd have to say probably 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. That might be fair. Pretty good episode this week. I wouldn't say real great, but still good. And now we go over onto Honor Club for this week's episode of Ring of Honor. And we kick things off in a semifinals match in the Ring of Honor World Television Championship Tournament. Shane Taylor defeats the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels. Pretty good match here. I'd say maybe 2.5 out of 5 ring bells. The Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships are on the line. Aussie Open defeats the Iron Savages. The Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Championship is on the line. Katsuyori Shibata defeats Josh Woods. Dalton Castle defeated Zach Clayton. Nick Camarado and Jora Joel take on the infantry, and the infantry get the win, defeating Camarado and Jora Joel. Sorry about that little mistake there. And in women's action, Legit Layla Hirsch defeats Miranda Vinette. Gravity defeats Tony Nese. The Ring of Honor Women's Champion Athena defeats Diamante to retain the championship. Pretty good match here, I'd say. 3 out of 5 ring bells. I thought this was a pretty good match. The Gates of Agony defeat the Boys. Cole Carter defeated LSG. Robin Renegade defeats Christina Marie. And in the main event, tag team action, El Hijo del Vikingo and Commander defeated the Workhorsemen. Not a bad match, but I wouldn't say anything really that spectacular. 2 out of 5 ring bells. And that was this week's episode of Ring of Honor on Honor Club. It was an okay show. Had some good wrestling on this episode. Would I say was a real great episode? Maybe not, but still pretty good. And now, before I wrap up this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, gonna go over a little bit of pro wrestling news. It's been announced now that Impact Wrestling Hall of Famer and former Impact Knockouts champion Awesome Kong, along with the Beautiful People, will be appearing at Impact Wrestling 1000. And I think that is all for the news got right now. So we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, for a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic to talk all about WWE Friday Night SmackDown, which is the final go-home show before SummerSlam this Saturday, and then AEW Rampage as well. But before that, we'll be back for Good Morning Wrestling fans, the Friday episode tomorrow morning. Remember, if you have any questions or any comments, or if you want to leave feedback on tonight's episodes of Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor, you can in the comment section, either on Spreaker or on YouTube, or whichever podcast website or app you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcasts on. And that's all for this episode tonight. Thank you everyone once again for listening. Remember, subscribe to the 2 YouTube channels, 360 Wrestling Podcasts. I don't talk about that as much as I should, but we have 2 of them, and you can listen or subscribe to both. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff you do on YouTube. And also, you can listen to 360 Wrestling Podcasts just about anywhere you listen to podcasts. So, until tomorrow morning, I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.